Hey everyone, Ivy League Gaming here, and today we're playing Raid Shadow Legends, and I'm going to show you my first one key at Brutal Hydra boss. Now, this is a little bit inspired by multiple, I guess, influences, and I will talk about that here in this video. Alright, now there really wasn't an easy way for me to just get myself out of the way here, so we're just going to do this without my face. Sorry. First, I'm going to show you my comp, talk about it a little bit, and then we're going to show you the ending of my battle. I'll put that at the very end. So this video won't be too long. What's making it longer is my actual gameplay, which I'll maybe speed up ×2 or something a little bit, but it's quite funny. Literally, guys, Hydra Brutal top chest 24 or 29.4. Literally what I did. It was down to the wire. I don't know how I pulled it off. But I did it. It better count. Even if it was 29.399, it better count. I think we're good. But yeah, so this comp was actually at first shown to me a little bit differently. It was brought with Geomancer, Inquisitor Shamel, Lydia, Lord Chamfort. I think the person's damage dealer was Royal Guard, but Husk is better for this affinity. And then the last person was actually Godseeker and Neri. Now, last week with that comp, I actually did this. I had very similar builds. Well, I had the same team almost, except I had Godseeker and Neri instead of Cardiel here, and I did 24 point something million. Not quite a one key brutal, so I just had to go back in. Oh no, I did 25. I only needed 4 million or something. I think I only needed like 4 million. It wasn't much. But yeah, so I knew it was possible to get a one key, but then I kept playing it and getting frustrated. I would wipe around 9 or 10 million, and sometimes I would wipe around 17 million. It seemed to be the magic number. So I was just trying to do anything I could to get this team better. Now, what I ended up doing was getting Godseeker and Neri faster on stream, which I didn't realize was a bad thing. I messed up the entire comp. Everything was a mess. Buffs were going up. Buffs never go up in this comp, except on the Head of Mischief early on, so it was a bit of a bummer to have that happen. So, yeah, I ended up not knowing what I was going to do, so I actually watched my video back. I went to, I think, what was it? I went to just the part where I was working on Godseeker. I saw her speed. I changed her speed. I got it back. And then, as I was doing that, I messaged in my Claw Discord about it, just be like, oh, gosh darn Hydra, you know? And then I mentioned what was happening, and actually DarkPrism, our friend of Claw, he gave us a really, really nice description early on of this comp. He was the one I first saw this comp, like, I guess, detailed out. He was the first one that, he's not a content creator, just a player, but super, super smart, plays hard. He detailed this comp and gave it great advice. I mimicked it as much as I could. I also watched MurderInc's video, which is really good on the comp as well. It's a really great video. I definitely recommend you check it out if you need a good benchmark for the team. And so the combination of those two, I kind of, which are both in MAD, coincidentally, obviously. I'm sure that's not a coincidence, but yeah. They gave great advice. I followed it, and I did. I almost won Key Brutal last week. Well, this week, for some reason, I couldn't. So I went in after failing multiple times this week and not even coming close to that 24 or 25 million. I knew I had to do something. And luckily, let's tell back around. Sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent. DarkPrism was really kind to notice my comment and was like, oh, you should try this, this, and this, or else whatever. And what I didn't realize is, yes, Lord Chamfort in this comp is the one who has the Head of Mischief target him because he has the most buffs, because he self-buffs with the shield. So he needs the most resistance to resist the Head of Mischief. But you also need resistance for the Head of Blight on everybody. So that's what I was failing to notice, was the reason everyone was dying so quickly and I was getting wiped early on was because I was taking so many poisons. So the poisons, to resist them, you only need like 250 resistance. So I went in and I rebuilt my people. So I'm going to actually show you that. Show you all my people here now. So yeah, I ended up rebuilding everyone with 250 accuracy, or 250 resistance. I had to change their builds a little bit. I had to take away some damage some. I forgot Lydia though. Lydia, I realized I forgot once I was in there. But this is my Lydia, 241 speed. That's fine. Her accuracy's fine. I have her that way for Doom Tower. It helps with Arena as well. But I really got to get her resistance up, so we'll see. I'm going to adjust that to 250 for the next run. She did take a bunch of poisons and debuffs, but it ended up being alright. I think we also can resist the I don't know if can we resist the provoke from the Head of Wrath? I think so. At any rate, she took more debuffs than everybody else, but luckily she stayed alive just fine. But let me show you her. I'll show you her masteries. I do have her built for, this is like the typical clan boss build almost, except I put Shieldbreaker in there. I don't know why Shieldbreaker's on her, honestly. I feel like there was a reason for that. I'm not sure. Now I don't know now. But yeah, pretty much traditional clan boss type masteries for dealing with dungeon bosses. It works really good against Hydra boss. Let's go to the Lord Chamfort. Here is his masteries as well. We're going with regen gear. So he needs resist. He needs good resist to resist the boss's, the Head of Mischief trying to take away his buffs. So he needs much higher than everyone else. And as long as it stays consistent, that he's always the one with the most buffs when that comes around, then you know he's always going to be targeted and it should always be resisted. That was really helpful. That we don't have to worry about having high resist on everybody, which would have been impossibly hard to get for. I don't have the gear or the Great Hall. My Great Hall has no work on resistance, not gonna lie. I don't have the Great Hall help. As you can see, I've got, 30 resist for my Great Hall for his affinity. So I'm really glad I was able to find this build and comp and to work this way. He did his job well. I think, do I have him booked? I did book him. He doesn't take that many books, but he was a powerhouse. He's so good. I already had his resist really high, so I didn't have to worry about changing him. I did change Godseeker and Eerie. I ended up not using, but I do want to try the comp with her again, but I think I'm just going to use her elsewhere. She's really helpful. I don't have any accuracy on her to actually decrease the duration of enemy buffs, though, so that's something I need to do in the future. But I actually went through and changed my Godseeker that ended up not using her. So we're just going to move on to Inquisitor Shamel. Inquisitor Shamel, I actually put in some Immortal and took away quite a bit of his damage just so he can stay alive. He needs to stay alive. It can't be too squishy. Honestly, you're fine not doing crazy damage with him. He hits so often. And if you're smart and have War Master or Giant Slayer procs, it's worth it now. I think the recommendation was Giant Slayer if you're not using block debuffs, but if you're using block debuffs, use War Master, I believe was the suggestion that I found when talking in Discord about his masteries. But there's my masteries. He's just... I ended up getting 250 resistance on him. I think he did take 1 or 2 poisons here and there, so I might want to beef that up a tiny bit more. Speed 236, pretty good. And then we have Geomancer. He's kind of the star of the show, isn't he? I do need to get 1 more level on him. I'm trying to start being better and saving some of this too. Till clan versus clan, so I can actually get some points for what I'm doing. So hopefully we get lucky and get something a little bit useful for him. But he is the same. Got him to 252 resistance. He had no resistance. He had like 100. It was pretty bad. And enough accuracy to land everything where we are in Brutal Hydra boss. But he is so helpful with his AoE. And then the rotation works pretty specifically. So the HP burn, you gotta go, it's lucky. It places. You don't have to worry about having weak hits. You could have the poison cloud on everyone and it's all right. It still lands. But pretty much I went and cycled around, starting with the Head of Mischief, put this on him. By the next time it was available, I put it on the Head of Blight, and then I started with the Head of Wrath, and then the Head of Blight, the Head of Mischief, and then I actually ended up ignoring the Head of Torment. You didn't really need to put it on him, honestly. and just kept cycling it. As he come back around to that skill, I would refresh it up and keep putting it on. And then when early on, when the Head of Wrath puts up those buffs, I would just steal them with his A2. And any other time, if they got a little bit out of whack and the Head of Wrath put up more buffs than I want, or when he puts up that lovely, lovely reflect damage, you got to be ready to steal that off, and he's perfect for that. He filled that role really well. Plus, he has decreased accuracy on the A1, which is really helpful, as well as Lord Chamfort with decreased accuracy and decreased attack on his A2. Having decreased accuracy allows you to not have to have crazy resistance on Lord Chamfort. I believe you'd have to be well over 500 if you didn't have that debuff on the bosses, so that really helps a lot. Now I'm going to go into my damage dealer I chose was Husk. You could use Husk, Royal Guard. I mean, who was it? MurderInc used even Little Miss Annie as his single target, not as ideal, but he'd already used his champions, so, and other comps, so that's what he used, I think, in his video. I will link his video below because I'm referencing it, and I want to make sure you guys have another reference point. I'm sure you've already seen it. If we're talking Hydra Boss and Geomancer, you've probably already seen Murder. He's been putting out good content, so props where props are due, right? Alright, Husk is a little slow. I would like him to be a little bit faster, honestly, but I think when putting resistance on him, I did sacrifice some speed. Hopefully I can get this a little bit faster so that I think the bosses, it might be 220, 230, 220 or 230 is the slowest boss. I can't remember right now. I actually use Hell Hades' website for that when checking out his, what is it called? Shoot, now I gotta look, hold on. The Raid Shadow Legends Stages tool, sorry, the Stages tool. That you can actually just put in whatever boss you're fighting, or whatever stage you're fighting of anything in the game, and you can find out their stats so you know what you need to counteract that. So, alright, sorry, Husk here. I have one of my Husks in Reflex gear. I do have another Husk in normal gear. Reflex is perfect, and I only use his A1. I don't use the A3 at all because of Reflex gear having the chance to reduce a random skill cooldown. We want this cooldown to always be ready, so that way the only skills cooldown left to reduce would be this guy, so we can use this as much as possible. Did it proc a lot? I have no idea. But I did pair that with a refresh ring. I would love to get him in full refresh as well if possible. We'll see, I'll keep an eye out for him. But right now, I probably have Siffy taking my refresh gear because priorities, man. But I can always steal it. But I'll show his masteries. He's just down to War Master as well. Pretty much like Lord Chamfort there, I think, had the same masteries. What was it? Lord Chamfort? Why does that not feel right? Yeah, Lord Chamfort, same masteries. But yeah, it worked out really well. The biggest thing is to have people, you actually want to attack the Head of Wrath with your people that do multi-hitters, like with, oh wait, Cardiel, sorry, I forgot one person. With Cardiel, I used his ally attack on the Head of Torment because it's a lot of counter-attack procs by Inquisitor Shamel. But with the A2 of Inquisitor Shamel, I attack the Head of Wrath. And with Lydia's A2, always attack the Head of Wrath. You want to make sure, or sorry, A3. Lydia's A3, always attack the Head of Wrath. You need to make sure he has block debuffs, or block buffs up, sorry. Alright, my Cardiel is built kind of mediocrely, honestly. I shouldn't say that. His resist is really good. Not endgame arena resist everything good. But for most things, he does pretty darn well, including in my 3v3 Gold 4 arena. He does well when I use him. But yeah, he's at a decent speed. I wish he was a lot faster, but it's hard to get this kind of resist with that speed when I don't have a ton in my Great Hall. Look at only 20 resist in my Great Hall for Void right now. That's something I think I'm going to work on because I want to be able to get people like Cardiel, Warlord, Siffy, hell, everyone, Lydia, everyone needs higher resist. So that's something I need to work on. But yeah, I think it's a really easy, I should say easy, for people that are doing endgame content like Hydra. You're probably not going to struggle too much to get these kind of stats. I struggle a little bit because of my lack of work on my Great Hall, but I mean, really, what do we need? We need more Inquisitor Shamels when this rotation's up, that's for sure, right? Of course, the next rotation, we are stuck with the Head of Decay and no Head of Torment, so this guy is going to take a back seat, isn't he? Sadly, but he's going to have to take a back seat. But what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to play the rest of my run. Now, unfortunately, the run is not going to show off what's so great about the comp in the beginning. The beginning of it is very fluid. Again, I start with using Geomancer's HP burn, cycling around every time it comes to the next person, making sure it's always up in the Head of Wrath, Head of Blight, and Head of Mischief. And then Lydia's A3 always attack the Head of Wrath as well. And pretty much just with Cardiel, you just want to save his A2, of course. He has the revive on death, and the cleanse, you want to save that for when you're worried about people dying, or if the Head of Wrath is about to do his big smacks. So make sure you save that and use that carefully. But it works very well. No buffs get spread. Like what happened to me if you were watching me on Twitch earlier today. It was a hot mess. The buffs were spread and it was a mess. That's why I got frustrated, because I'm like, this is not how this comp works. It didn't work this way before. I don't know what happened. I messed up my speeds and screwed it all up, but it's okay. Cardiel to the rescue. And he worked so great. Yeah, love Cardiel. Always love Cardiel. Super happy that he can be my avatar as a content creator, because he's probably one of my favorites at this point. But the video that I'll post right now, right after me here, or connected to this video, of course, is going to be the actual run, how it finishes. It's kind of fun. It's really fun. It shows off the end of me scrambling. You know, once you lose the Head of Torment, it's all downhill from there in this comp. So, but I was so close that I thought we could squeeze out a 1-key, and we just barely did, down to the wire. So, hope you guys enjoy this. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions. And again, feel free to, I would suggest referencing MurderInc's video for a good reference for a team like this. I just replaced Godseeker Iniri with Cardiel, but she still can do the job. You just gotta be careful with extending your team's buffs that you're also extending Lord Chamfort's, and make sure she's going last in the rotation, so that way he always has the most buffs. And I think that's what was messing up, is my speeds changed and it messed it all up. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and here goes the video.